Sandra.
My name's Haley.
My name's Makai.
And my name's Tina.
Today I'm going to talk about African American slavery. Imagine being chained up, like caught by slave catchers, chained up, like on aboard a boat, and like it's crowded, stinks, unsanitary, and then you like wake up and you're in a new world, like a new world, like America, and you're no longer a person, you're a slave, as a slave though. I'm going African American slavery began in the early 1700s when Europeans needed like African slaves to work in a growing number of plantations in America. Because the North was more industrialized than the South was mainly agricultural, so they had plantations in the South. So they didn't use the Native Americans anymore because they weren't immune to the diseases like Africans were, like measles, smallpox, malaria. They already had all the immunity, so they are perfect for working on the plantations. There's many types of slaves too. There was the field slaves. They like pick cotton. They pick the tobacco and stuff. And then there was the house slaves. They were servants, maids, and other stuff. But they weren't, to explain how they were like considered property was they were bought, like you buy like furniture or other like stuff like at the store. They were bought at auction. Like entire families could be split up. Like you could have a baby, your baby could be like bought by an owner from South Carolina, and you could be bought from another person from Georgia. And another way they were also, I feel, also property is like they were only 3/5 compromised, and that was because of 3/5 compromise. That's only because in 1787, like the South and North were debating, like were mad. The South was mad because the North had more people than the South, and the Northerners were like their property, but 3/5 compromise made 3/5 of slaves represented a person, so it gave them more state representation in Congress. My next point is like how African American slavery had a lot of long-term effects on African American heritage. Many slaves, after the Emancipation Proclamation, when they were freed by Abraham Lincoln, they took their master's last names, so they because they lost all their heritage and stuff being in slavery. They were still treated socially unjust. It still happens today with all like police brutality against like black people and like racism. It still happens today. Also, like many blacks, like African Americans, they don't stick together. Like there's like on superiority. Like if you're light skinned, it's considered better to be light skinned than dark skinned. Like we're like constantly fighting inbreed fighting. Like we don't stick together for one another. We don't stick up. Like in prisons too, like there's gangs and stuff about violence, like Crips, Bloods, like they're fighting against one another just because we're always jealous of people. Like we don't want the fellow brother or black man to like succeed, and like we get very jealous over one another because back to like slavery, it made us like our masters put us against one another. Like we weren't supposed to they like split us up. We didn't know our same language. We had to speak English. Like we were just split up together, like mixed. We had like no family members and stuff. In conclusion to my speech on African Americans, like slavery in America was like still happens today. Like I mean, it's not considered slavery, like, but it's just broad. Like slavery happens in general. It's not just African American. My speech was on African American slavery, but in general, slavery still happens today. Whether it be sex slaves, like the Hispanic slaves that work like in the fields, like migrant workers and stuff. Like it just still happens today. African American slavery, it was very detrimental to Africans and our descendants, because I'm a descendant of slaves, because I don't know like my full last name, but